Hi, guys, and welcome back to Mystic Mamas. I'm your host, Danielle,
And I'm Dakota. I
and we're
have a
back.
habit of doing that.
It's the millennial pause. Uh, we're back together this week. Very exciting. I know it's been a couple weeks since we recorded together, so I'm glad to be back with you. And yeah, today we're going to talk a little bit about celebrating yourself and not for the big stuff. Matter of fact, we're going to leave the big stuff out today because we don't need help celebrating those things. I think most of us tend to celebrate. Now, if you don't celebrate for the big stuff too, definitely do that. But today I want to talk about celebrating kind of your every step along the way and how important it is to truly celebrate yourself for every milestone, whether it be big or small, or even the tiny minuscule ones that you think that don't truly matter or deserve to be celebrated. Like if you got out of bed today and got dressed after being in kind of a funk for a few days, then that's a reason to celebrate. And we really just kind of want to dive into a couple of stories on how we have realized that we don't do it enough as well. And just like the mindset shift and confidence and inner trust shifts that can come when you truly learn to celebrate all your wins. So, yeah, pretty excited to dive into this. I know it's kind of been a topic that has come up for Dakota and I both in different areas. And so we figured we might as well share with y'all our experience and kind of what we've learned through it all.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for this topic actually because I feel like it's something I'm currently experiencing. It's like I'm excited for the next thing and I'm not appreciating what I have right now. Of course, I have my moments of being present and moving through my own emotions, but I also am just like, it's like I'm in this creative, excited state where I'm not giving myself enough time to celebrate everything that's been coming up for me, like manifestations that I've been calling in that are coming so quickly. At least it seems quickly, right? And I'm just like, okay, cool, awesome. Now, what's the next thing? Let's make a masterclass and let's call in more people and let's get more clients and that's exciting and I love that. And also, it's so important to take a moment to stop and smell the roses because one day you'll look back and be like, man, I really wish I would have just celebrated myself and like not burnt myself out during that time. I really wish I would have just stopped and appreciated what I had. It's almost like in motherhood when you look back at the baby photos. I was literally just doing this the other day, literally yesterday. And I looked back at Harper's, I think she was probably 9 months, 10 months crawling around on the floor and like I I don't even remember that time. I don't even feel like I celebrated those milestones, like not just as her as a baby, but like me as a parent. And yeah, it just made me realize that I need to bring that more in, not in just what I'm achieving and accomplishing, but the small details, like you're saying, D. Even with my kid too, like every milestone that she hits, like it all deserves to be celebrated. Not that I don't celebrate her, but I'm sure you guys know what I mean.
Yeah, I feel that. And also, with me, I feel like Oliver teaches me how much we should celebrate the little stuff. And I'm sure you've experienced
Mhm.
it too as they grow. I mean, I just heard you earlier. You were bragging about her just simply singing along to a song and celebrating the cuteness and the skill level she's learning in her language and stuff like that. And we deserve that celebration too. Is it a big deal she's singing to a song? We do that every day. But it's a big deal when they're little and they're learning and it's brand new and it's so cute and it's so amazing. And also, like, that's how we should be celebrating the little things we do every day as well. And I
Yeah.
find that for me, it's been easier to like really tap into celebrating Oliver and less so myself because I get very much so like you do, where I get in this mode of, I mean, I realized it when I moved down here to Corpus. I got this huge manifestation I've been waiting for. And immediately upon arrival, it's like I was skipping to what's next. What else can I bring in? And then like tripping myself up honestly on it and like really focusing on all the things that were still missing in my life instead of really taking the time to be present and hold space and gratitude and allow myself to integrate into this manifestation and really, really celebrate the fact that I can go next door and hang out with my family when before it was just like a phone call, here and there, and that I can celebrate that I can actually like have a yard for Oliver and enjoy that time when before we were stuck inside all the time. And it's like I kept skipping over these things. And when I sat back, because I was getting way ahead of myself and I really like slowed down, I was like, okay, bitch, slow down. Take a look around and look at all the things you have gotten so far and how far you have come. And especially in this healing journey, when you are in a healing journey, there's so much going on and it takes a lot of work inside. And we tend to not really, or I'll speak for myself, I tend to skip over my healing work. Like, oh, okay, been doing this, been doing that, been doing this, proud of myself for half a second, but not truly celebrating the work I'm doing and truly sitting back and being like, hey, bitch, this is hard and you're doing it. And you're doing it on top of everything else. And that's reason to be celebrating. And especially as moms, this is something I'd never do, is celebrate myself as a mom. I really struggle and focus on the things that I do wrong as a mom. And I don't give enough credit to the moments where I, like, for instance, I will cling to yelling at my son for hours. I'll feel bad about it. And then I'll totally skip over whenever I respond instead of react in a healthy way. It's like, oh, I just moved through that instead of being like, high five, dude. You did that. You held your cool, you regulated first, and then you responded to a thing. And these are the things that we should be celebrating every day. And because when we highlight these things, they do create an inner confidence and an inner trust. And it becomes easier when you practice celebration. It becomes easier to really hold yourself up for all the little things you do in your day to day and in your week or whatever, because we really do a lot more than we give ourselves credit for. I know Dakota and I talk about this with each other a lot. We're always telling each other back and forth, like, give yourself more credit, because it's so easy not to.
Yeah, it really is. It's very easy not to. And I resonate with you on not celebrating all the good things in motherhood too. You kind of like don't think about them. You're like, oh, this is stuff I should be doing anyway. So like, why is it worthy to be celebrating? But really everything is worthy to be celebrated and you are worthy to be celebrated. So take that, okay? Take every small accomplishment or small thing that you do right as something to be celebrated. And I wanted to touch on something you specifically said. Okay, I remember now. I was trying to catch my thoughts, but there was this TikTok I saw or reel or something like this. I don't know if I already mentioned this on the podcast or if this was just to you, D, but there was this man talking about how, well, first off, as we know, right, our minds cling to the problems. Like that's what the mind is meant to do, because as cave women and cavemen, we grew up in a world where we had to constantly protect ourselves. So our mind is constantly trying to find the problems. And because we have progressed so quickly in society and in life, our mind still does that. It still thinks like really high pressure things means you're going to die, because that's just how your system is wired. So it is important to like get back to a space of regulation. Okay, getting off topic. But what he said is that our minds are so wired to find the bad in everything that we do. So waking up in the morning and like instantly, oh, I don't feel like going to work, or I got to snooze my alarm or whatever it is, instead of waking up and thinking, oh my gosh, I woke up today. It's because we're so stigmatized or destigmatized to the good things in our lives because it's the normal, right? There's so much good actually to be celebrated, but we don't celebrate it because it's the normal. Whereas that one bad thing that hinders whatever your day or your moment, that's the thing that your brain wants to focus on because you don't have a lot of that. It's almost like, I don't know, when you're a kid and you get ice cream, and for the first time you get ice cream, and now you want to keep getting ice cream or food or candy or whatever. It's like you want to keep getting the things that you don't get all the time. And so that's the kind of thing that your brain does too. Wants to keep getting the hit of problems instead of celebrating the things that you already have. And so whenever we, in motherhood, whenever we do things like regulate in a time where maybe it's chaotic, and instead of screaming at our kid, we're asking them to deep breath. It's like we really have to, maybe not right then and there celebrate yourself, but make sure you're even having a practice at the end of your day, or taking a moment to write some gratitude down for yourself at the end of the day. Not just, oh, I love that. I love my house. I love my daughter. I love my boyfriend or partner. It should be like, I love me. I'm so proud of me. Look what I've done today. Look at the regulation tools I've used today. Look at the healing modalities I've used today. Like all of those things are so worthy to be celebrated. And something that has really helped me get more into celebration is, I'm going to keep talking about this obviously because I'm an embodiment coach, but is embodiment. And the more I've utilized celebration within embodiment, I feel like I've started to stop and again smell the roses so much more. Like Danielle was mentioning, I told her today that uh, sorry, there was a loud truck outside, so I didn't want to talk over it. I told her today that, like, first off, with embodiment, you just feel so much more now. When you do a lot of embodiment and you're moving through emotions, moving through the heavy and stuck emotions inside your body, you start to feel so much more deeper. And celebration is one for me, or gratitude, appreciation. And today, Harper, I played this song, and I only played this song like one other time. It's Me and You by Tim's. And it's like, only me and you, only me and you. And I just caught Harper saying, me, you, me, you. And I literally just bawled my eyes out because I just thought it was so precious. Not only that, when I do think about that song, I do think about her. So it was like a full circle mini moment for me. And like, I just thought it was so beautiful. And like, I just kept crying and I kept playing the song and I kept crying and I kept crying. And I just felt so much gratitude for this life that I'm living now, and so much appreciation for my daughter and for myself, and how much I've shown up for myself as a mother and as a person, for her, for everyone around me, and for myself. And yeah, it was just like a beautiful, beautiful moment. And so when we take more time to celebrate moments like that, more celebration comes into our lives. And you can look at this through like manifestation, right? So when you manifest something and you're focusing on that thing, so you're moving through celebration, you do an embodiment practice where you're focusing on celebration, you're going to keep getting things to celebrate. You're going to keep getting things where maybe you had a shield, or you're lifting up the veil and now you're seeing, wow, there's so much to be grateful for now. And I just haven't been able to see that because I've been in such a victim mode mindset for so long. And I really was for so long in motherhood. Like, it was a very woe is me situation. And now that I've been able to move through emotions, I truly feel like I'm able to like lift this veil that I was trapped in, this box that I was trapped in, of full of like, this sucks, fuck this, I don't know what I'm doing type of vibe. And like now it's, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. And that's great. And it's awesome. And I love it, and give it to me. Like I meet the uncomfortableness with full knowing that like I'm not going to know what the fuck I'm doing at first. And like that's beautiful. I'm going on a rant here, but take it away.
No, I love that you touched on that, because it's very similar to what I was thinking, in terms of the more you celebrate, the more you find reasons to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's especially important, I feel like, having many celebrations for myself along the journey of postpartum was really helpful, especially when you're in really hard places and depressed places and places full of anxiety, where you can really ground into what is real and what you are doing right and the things that are going well for you. I know we both had a very um, that we were both wearing the same lens of glasses during that time of motherhood. And it's a lot. I don't want to invalidate that experience at the same time either, but when all you see is negativity, it's just going to breed more of that, and it's just going to continue that cycle. And the same is true for celebration and gratitude. The more you practice, the more places you look for things to be happy for and things to celebrate in your life, the more you'll end up, all of a sudden you find an abundance of it, and it was always there. I think that's important to also know. It was always there. It's just you weren't paying attention to it. You weren't giving credit to it. You weren't showing love to it and awareness around it. And once you do, it's like the veil lifts. You put on a new lens, you put on a new pair of sunglasses, and you're like, oh, wow, it's beautiful here. And it truly opens up in ways that's hard to explain. Like, your whole world tends to open up. And opportunities come. You see opportunities and different things in different areas whenever you're like in a professional setting. Even in your day-to-day life, you find more ways to truly find joy, and it's attached to joy. And that's what we want, right? We want to have fun. We want to be in a joyous mood. And I find that on my harder days, especially being a stay-at-home mom, because things can get mundane, it can feel very much so like the same day on repeat sometimes, until you start looking for the beauty. And especially with kids, I feel like it's a lot easier almost, because they do have so much like unfiltered joy. And whenever you're watching your own kid or a family member's kid, you know, kids you love, you truly see them in full presence and full love and gratitude. And they just bring a sense of like, wow, nothing else matters in this moment. And it's really easy to kind of tap into that presence with them. And so I'm really grateful in my motherhood journey now, looking back, because it's like every day, sorry, excuse me, every day, I lost my train of thought.
Your
But
motherhood journey, and
yeah,
you
so
love it.
yeah, I mean, there are hard days, right? But in those hard moments, it's easy to get out of the like spiral when you're able to like ground into, okay, yes, Oliver's screaming his toy. I just stepped on one of his toys. I'm frustrated, but how lucky am I that I have a kid who feels comfortable to share those, to like express himself. He's not afraid of me. Me and Daniel were just talking about this the other day on how gentle parenting is kind of hard. And it would be easier to yell and have them be fearful of you because they listen. And I mean, it's not, they're not listening. They're just scared, right? But how lucky are we that Oliver isn't afraid of us? And I grew up very afraid of my dad. And I'm just so grateful that Oliver gets a different experience, even if it's harder on me in the meantime. And finding that in like, okay, so it's been a hard toddler day. And then I can twist it around to like, but I'm really grateful he feels safe enough to share his emotions with me. And he feels safe in our presence, that he isn't full of fear and that he isn't suppressing his emotions because of that. And I can take on that hard, because that's what being a parent is taking on the hard for your kids in those kind of areas. And so practicing celebration shows up in so many different areas of life that makes it really, really cool. And also in like your day-to-day life, if you're struggling with getting stuff done and doing all these little things around the house, or if you're in like a kind of a funk, getting yourself out is so much easier when you can look around and be like, okay, I brushed my teeth today. Hell yeah, I'm going to celebrate that. Or I cleaned up those dishes that have been in the dish pit, like I'm at a restaurant, that have been in the sink for a few days. And then it leads to doing more stuff. I don't even know where I was going with that. Now I'm like,
No, I know what you're saying though. I 100% agree with you. Like you know, you have, whenever you start to look for the things that you're grateful for, more things you start to see that you have more gratitude all around you. Something I just was thinking about as you were speaking, so this is my thoughts out loud, was that, you know, beforehand, before children, you and I, a lot of the things that we were grateful for were the things that we would escape from, were the things that we would like go do festivals and go to raves, and like we'd feel all this I know you probably felt this way too. I obviously don't want to put my feelings inside of you, but every time I would walk through a music festival, or even just the day before, like I'd get immense butterflies up and down my body. I would feel so excited. I felt so much gratitude for my life, like before the shows, during the shows, after the shows. Like I just felt so good about music festivals and music in general. I still have all that gratitude and love for music too, but we never really experienced that outside of the festivals as often. You know, like of course, you know, we had gratitude for our friends and family, don't get me wrong. I don't want to speak for you. I'll speak for me. I think a lot of the times I was always searching for something to escape to. I was always searching for something to run from. Like I didn't want to be in my hometown anymore. I wanted to move. I didn't want to be not at a rave or a music festival. I wanted to always be there. So I was always looking for the next thing to do. Whereas now we're in this space where we have to be as present as we possibly can, one for our children, but two for ourselves. And like now we're finding the beauty in everything. Whereas like it was hard for us to find the beauty then because we weren't focused on it, you know? Yeah, so I think I know probably like, I don't know, half, maybe more than half that listening are parents. And so I know you can resonate with that. I'm not saying you have to be a parent to feel these feelings, but also like take this with what you will, right? I actually just wrote something down the other day. And I'm going to read it to you guys really quickly. It was kind of about the escapism of my life. So I put the difference between the high then and the high now. The high then, me searching for something outside of me to make me happy. The high now, me searching inside of me for all the answers. And like, I truly, truly believe that. I'm getting chills as I'm speaking it out loud, because I was searching, even just in last year, I was searching for things outside of me to still make me happy within motherhood and within, before that, when I didn't have kids, like I was always searching for something else to make me happy. And now I get it. Now I understand that nothing else can truly make me content and happy the way I can, the way I get to. And the only validation and understanding and love and being seen that you truly need is from yourself. So celebrating yourself is such a beautiful part of that journey, because it all leads and bleeds into one another, right? You start to celebrate yourself, you start to celebrate things outside of you. Everything internally is a reflection of your external environment. I truly believe that. Like, you're not going to be happy where you're at if you're not happy inside, and vice versa, right? If you're not happy outside of you, then look inside of you. Like, what's going on? It's not really my environment. It has to be me. Don't get me wrong. I'm not invalidating feelings. Like, I know things and shit is hard in situations. Environments can control a lot of your happiness. And also, there's always ways to find joy, you know? And celebration is a giant one.
Yeah. Just trying to have a little moment for that little thing you read us, because that's powerful.
I think I'm
And
going to make like a post about it or something.
that's a good idea. That's really powerful. And you're right. It is an inside job. And of course, use nuance, because sometimes like she said, environments do play a role in certain things. So, however, everywhere you go, you follow. So, if it's a pattern of the environment being wrong, then it's definitely an inside job for sure.
Who's
And
the common
it's always,
denominator?
yeah. Yeah, but truthfully, no matter where you are, sometimes we can't change certain things, and we have to insource.
Yeah.
Like, insourcing is where it's at, and it took me a while to really like grasp the concept of that. But Dakota's right. Like, everything you just said is 100%, because I feel the same way, and you can speak for me because we talk a lot, and you know how I feel about festivals, and it definitely was a thing for me as well, an escape thing. Not saying it didn't bring me immense joy, and all those things were still very valid. And I was also using it to escape my everyday life. And without festivals, I've really had to learn how to create an inside world that felt just as good as my outside world did when I was in the middle of the crowd. And it's
That
been
was beautifully
beautiful.
said.
It has been beautiful, and it's been so what's the word?
Sorry.
Freeing to know
Yeah.
that, like,
Liberating.
liberate. Thank you. To like be able to feel this way and to find that same joy when I'm dancing around with a YouTube set with my son in the RV. I find the same joy. It's the same inner, like, wow, look at this beautiful life I created, literally and figuratively. And to see him enjoy the same things I always have, it just brings a different level of joy for festivals and music. And music brings us all together. And watching kids react to music is so incredibly beautiful, because they're all vibes and they're not afraid of doing their silly dance move over and over again. And it's just a different kind of joy that I never truly felt. And I think it's because a lot of times I was escaping in those moments, instead of like truly embracing the present moment of festivals. As much as I love them, I feel like a lot of time it was just a very much of a rushing through all of a sudden the weekend's gone. and I was drinking and doing a lot of other things that kind of took me out of the moment. And so now in these new moments of joy and celebration, it's like I'm fully there. I'm present. I'm feeling every bit of it and I'm loving it. And that is a huge shift from where I was. And a lot of it has to do with all the micro celebrations I've done for myself along the way. And I've spent a lot of time these last few weeks kind of reflecting on my growth and where I am now versus just this time last year. And man, it's enough to like throw a party and celebrate over because it's truly been such a beautiful journey. And even if like I know we all want to reach our career goals and like our big goals. And even when those aren't there, you got to look at all the work you've done to get this far. Every action step you took to get just an inch further is just, those are what gets you to those big goals. Not, I can't speak for everyone. I know some people probably quantum leap like that, but not everyone has micro steps they got to take until they reach that quantum leap. Everyone's got baby steps up the stairs. And the more we focus on those baby steps and honor them, the easier they get and the more you climb. And then you're not just like trying to rush to the thing. You're not focused. It energetically opens you up so much faster to your manifestations because it's not that desperate need energy. It's very much so like, oh, look, I'm proud of me. I'm good today. Look how far I've gotten. Look at all I'm doing. And then the next day, another little micro step forward. Oh, wow. And it just puts a total different vibe on your whole life. And it makes everything feel so much better than just being so focused on what you aren't doing, what you don't have yet.
Yeah, I agree. I was looking at this, trying to look at this chart of frequency to see like where each one is. Like, because when you are in that desperate energy, it is way lower in frequency. Whereas like love or reason, acceptance, which I feel like acceptance and presence go very well together. That's like
Mm-hmm.
a higher frequency. And when you're in a higher frequency, you're then able to attract higher frequencies into your life, like your dream life, whatever it is that you're calling in. And so, yeah, I 100% resonate with that. And as you were speaking, I was thinking about how, um, with shuffling, I almost feel when I was escaping, to music festivals, it was almost like which shuffling really brought me into the present moment, it still allows me to like get into my creative flow and really be present. And I wonder, like, not that I wonder, but you were saying how every small step, every small step, shuffling was a small or big step for me. It brought me so many opportunities and so many great friends in community. And also it almost brought some of that feeling of escapism to the present moment for me, wherever I was. And I feel like that was something that really felt like allowed me to be connected in the present moments, which then like smaller things happened. And then I'm just like habit stacking and, doing one thing after another to get me to a point of where I am now. And I was even thinking about the other day, just how long we've really been doing this work. Like, because it is about like habit stacking or like, one small step at a time, one foot in front of the other. Because how many times have we fell down and got right back up, Yeah, maybe it took a month. Yeah, maybe it took 2 months or 9 months, however long our pregnancies were or whatever. But still, we got back up, and like those are things to be celebrated too. So, mama, if you're listening and you're in your pregnancy journey and you're just feeling like, fuck, this is so hard, or maybe you just had your baby and you have another one and you're realizing that two is hard, or just your first one is hard, or whatever it is, just know that you will get back up. You will. Okay. And celebrate yourself along the way, because that's the only way I truly feel like you can get back up, is when you start to see like the joy and the beauty and everything that you're doing for yourself, because you are doing a lot as a mother. You're doing a lot for everyone else around you and not actually so much for yourself, but like start to celebrate yourself, start to call that in more for you, because that's really going to help you along your journey. I think something, I'm getting off a little off track here, but something that I truly feel, and I know Danielle feels this way too, the thing that truly allowed us to get back up was self-compassion. It
Yeah.
was, and that goes with celebrating yourself, right? Like you have to have self-compassion in order to be like, hey, this is worthy to be celebrated. I am worthy to be celebrated. And so when you think about self-compassion, it's like just acceptance of where you are and acceptance of maybe the shit that you're in or the shit that you're not in. Maybe you're in a great place of that too, but really just like being present with where you're at and accepting all of you and loving all of you. And yeah, I mean, if I would have probably understood a little more about self compassion or had the self compassion I do now for myself in my pregnancy journey, I definitely think that I would be a little further along,
Yeah.
So if anyone's
100%.
listening who's in their pregnancy journey, like I just, yeah, recommend celebrating yourself and really being present with where you're at. Like I know maybe, well, for us, well, for me, I don't want to speak for you, but I know you're also in this. It's like we spend so much of our journey, of our motherhood journey in the beginning, right? Kind of thinking like, when will this get better? Like, when will I get to feel like myself again? I'm not feeling like myself. Instead of kind of being present with where we're at and accepting where we are always trying to be something other than mothers or whatever,
Yeah.
literally. And so if I would have just, celebrated myself then, so, shit, having a kid in general, that is worthy to be celebrated. Like,
Yeah, I was just
maybe I'm
about
getting up. Maybe my brains are just everywhere, but hopefully you guys are catching what I'm putting down.
No, seriously. And just to speak to our moms and our pregnant moms and to soon to be's, that's the easiest place you can celebrate yourself, babe. You are growing a whole human.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I had pregnancy and, my motherhood journey has shown me truly how little we celebrate moms when we should be celebrating them every single fucking day. If you're a mom out there and you're not celebrating yourself, start now, today. I'll give you the first one. You literally birthed a human. I don't care if it's C-section, it's still birth. You literally produced a human from your body, grew him from your own cells,
I was
sanity.
about to say that. Literally, cells
Every
insanity, baby.
single day. You have something to celebrate. If you kept a toddler alive and out of the chaos and kept your brain in a semi-sanity state, celebrate that. If you got a meal prep done while your kid was screaming at your feet, give yourself a huge celebration for that. It's that simple. And that's how simple we want you to take it. Like, it doesn't have to be something complicated. Celebrate the simple everyday accomplishments that you have and you will feel so much better. Especially, and all women, all people, everybody, but specifically our moms, because I know it's really close to me and Dakota's heart, and we've had to really learn to celebrate ourselves in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a mom also working or growing a business, man, give yourself 100 high fives because you deserve it. And that's another way, just came up, but if you ever listen to Mel Robbins, that's like a really big tip of hers to help you to learn to celebrate yourself and create an inner confidence, is quite literally habit stacking. Like if you're after you brush your teeth in the morning, give yourself a high five in the mirror. I did that in the beginning of my pregnancy journey because I was listening to a lot of Mel Robbins at the time. And as silly as it seems, it made a huge shift in my morning mindset. Like, it truly made me feel like good game, bitch. We did this. We're up. We survived another night of no sleep and cluster
Mm-hmm.
feeding. We did that. High five. Good for you. And it just became like, I don't do this. Actually, I need to start doing it again because it does create a good
Me
vibe.
too.
And it is a really easy way. You don't have to throw a whole party for yourself every single second, but something as simple as that. Look in the mirror, smile, say, I love you, good job, good game, whatever you feel good about, and give yourself a high five. And then tell me how you feel after. Do you feel kind of silly? That's okay. We're all a little silly, but it feels good. And it starts you off in this mindset that you're already celebrating your day. You're already celebrating yourself just for being yourself. And when we do that, it really does lead to those big goals. And it just gives yourself this. I want to touch on inner trust again, especially if you're someone who struggles with trusting themselves. It is a practice. It is just like building trust within yourself. And in order to do that, we have to start small. You're not just going to wake up and like, oh, I trust myself. I wish it was that simple. I really do. But when you're reaching for these if you have big goals and big dreams, but you don't trust yourself enough to get there, in order to do so, you have to start building that trust within by the small little accomplishments you do take every single day. If you're wanting to be a content creator and you post for the first time in 2 months, celebrate that. Baby step. Go from, build up these little bitty micro steps, and that'll create that inner trust. And the more you celebrate all those micro steps, the more willing you are to continue to habit stack or continue to add more as you get in a comfortable space. Because you also want to start slow. You don't want to just add all this shit on that you won't accomplish. This is the point. Start small, stuff you can accomplish, and build that trust up one by one. And the next thing you know it, you're at the top of that mountain you were so scared to climb.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It's like creating commitments to yourself. And I feel like I've definitely realized like within motherhood, you don't have the option to say no a lot of the times. And like you have to commit to waking up and feeding your baby and changing them and brushing their teeth, putting on clothes, changing diapers. And hey, maybe you don't get yourself dressed, but look at how much you're already committing to yourself by being a good mother, by doing your best. Those are things to celebrate. And I truly feel like being a mother has allowed me to habit stack more easily. I can now see that I trust myself more because of all the shit that I don't feel like doing and I'm still doing, which now allows me to like say, fuck the resistance and show up to the things I don't want to anyway. And I remember kind of learning that trick that you just mentioned, Danielle, from Manifestation Babe, like a long time ago in one of her podcasts, how she says like that just creates so much trust for yourself when you constantly can be as small as you can create trust by like telling yourself, hey, I'm going to wake up at 7 a.m. today. Maybe normally you wake up at 7:30, but now you're waking up at 7 and you do it for one day. That's like that, those small commitments that you're making to yourself each and every day, and you actually follow through, you create more trust with yourself. So yeah, exactly. Like Danielle is saying, like implement this celebrating yourself as often as you can, and you'll see it pop up more in your life and create that trust and that confidence to go after the bigger and scary commitments, maybe like investing in yourself, or maybe it's trying applying to a new job. Maybe it's, I don't know. You can think of all the examples for you. I'm sure you know one. Or like Danielle said, like content creating too, like just celebrate everything that you do. Because seriously, we just don't give each other or any ourselves like enough credit. Celebrate you like you would celebrate your child. Celebrate you like you would celebrate your bestie. And I
Yeah.
promise you, you'll start to see easier things fall into your lap, more opportunities fall into your lap when you create this inner trust and this inner celebration and this inner confidence. All of it kind of flows and goes with each other.
Yeah, it all is relative to each other. Even when you celebrate yourself, when you get in a practice of celebrating yourself, it's easier for you to celebrate other people too. It's the people around you,
Yeah, it
your
is.
partners, the relationships you're in, your family members, your friends. The more you celebrate yourself and all the accomplishments you have, big and small, the less likely you are to feel kind of those envy and jealous and all these things of the people around you, because you're able to celebrate them knowing that there's stuff you deserve to be celebrated for too. And being able to really tap into just a higher vibrational energy. And that's important for the people around you. It rubs off on the people around you. We can, if you've ever noticed, your partner comes home, you're in a bad mood, they were here, and then all of a sudden they're here and now everyone's in a bad mood. That's energy. We tend to kind of zone in. That's not the way I want to say it, but what am I looking for? But yeah, we all kind of bring ourselves into this like energetic level. And if you are in a good energetic level and you're celebrating yourself and all that, then the people around you are going to do the same. And at least to an extent, right? You're not responsible for everyone's energy, but it's a lot easier to celebrate your partner and the people around you when you're already in a habit of celebrating all your small things. And when you celebrate the people around you for their small things, they're going to love that. I love it when Dakota reminds me of the small little things I've accomplished. And when we clap for each other over silly stuff, it creates a good energy and it's just more fun, truthfully.
Yeah, it is more fun. And if you totally feel like right now you just like don't know what to celebrate in your life, like even though we've given you a gajillion examples, like if you truly are just feeling like, well, that's not worthy to be celebrated, and you're just kind of in this mindset, okay, I'm going to validate you within that mindset. And also, I want you to, I don't care if this was 5 years ago, I want you to think of accomplishments that you've had. It doesn't matter if it's big or strong. I want you to just start here. Write down all your accomplishments, every single thing. Maybe it's even waking up in the morning. Okay, these are small ones. Or maybe it's buying a new phone for yourself. Maybe it's finally posting content today. Maybe it's, I don't know, setting up an email that you've wanted to for your business email. Whatever it is, I want you to write down every single thing that you can think of. Take a moment and be proud of each thing. Like maybe even say a little affirmation to yourself, like, I'm so proud of myself. I did such a great job, or whatever you want to use. But use that as a practice to really start to hone in on more celebration in your life, even if this is from the past, because you still did those things. And I bet you, if you're resonating with this episode and you're like us, you skip over the good things that you do and you don't really celebrate yourself for them very often. So I would even say with my degree, I feel like I was on to the next thing so quick. I got my degree and I was like, okay, what job do I find and where do I do next? And let's move. And it was like, it was never like, wow, I spent 4 years working my ass off, crying almost every other day because of all the work I had to do on top of my full-time job, on top of the stress with that. Like, I was like, I did so much and I didn't take a moment to like appreciate everything I put behind me and everything I was doing for me. And I know it's hard whenever you're not feeling good about yourself. I truly understand that. I truly get that. But doing a small practice as like literally just write down everything you can think of and go one by one, line by line, being proud of yourself, celebrating yourself. Maybe it's even playing a song and dancing and thinking of each thing. And sorry if you can hear my baby, but can you hear
I can, but that's
her?
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Just a little background.
Oh my goodness. Let me text him.
No,
But yeah, use a small practice like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I would almost say it's actually like the most beneficial when you feel like you don't have something to celebrate, to really hone in on things you can celebrate and give yourself something to cling on to kind of help dig yourself out of that negative looping mindset. The monkey mind can bring us all over the place, but when we're able to really ground into things, I love that you give the example of writing stuff down, especially from the past, because that truly is so powerful. A lot of times, sometimes we just forget, or we didn't show it enough appreciation back then, and then we look back and we're like, damn, that was actually really, really impressive. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, whenever me personally, sometimes our brains tend to like do this rose colored glasses on the past. Sometimes I feel like I do the opposite, where I'm like, oh, I'm like harder on myself from stuff from the past, like with
I do both. Yeah.
with Alyssa's course. We were just talking about this the other day. I counted myself out when I really did like 9 months of really hard work in that course, and I never celebrated myself for that at all, because I didn't get the results I wanted. I quote unquote failed myself. All these different things I told myself I did. And I put this like really ugly energy on something that was truthfully really powerful in my life. It shifted my life and the course of my life in so many ways I just couldn't see at the time. And now, like, now that I'm coaching it now, we're talking about all this stuff and I'm looking back at some of the work I did, I was like, oh my God, I should have been so proud of myself. And now I can carry that pride and to celebrate myself now. But how much more powerful would it have been if I did it then? If in that moment I celebrated all I did instead of all I told myself I failed with, that energy would have carried me so much further than any of the energy I gave myself at that time. And it would have cut my healing process probably a little shorter, instead of spending so much time just focusing on the bad.
Yeah, as you're speaking that, I realized that like a lot of the times we don't celebrate ourselves or we aren't proud of ourselves because we don't meet the expectations that we placed on ourselves, right? So it's like we place, like for me, right? I'll even go back to my degree. I thought I would have a job right off the gate. I thought I would be making like 100 grand a year type of vibe, and I didn't. And so I shamed myself and guilted myself, and then have all these emotions coming up. And I do want to talk about this as well because Danielle mentioned it earlier too. Like, I think when we do have these emotions of shame and guilt that are going through us and that we're feeling, instead of like a celebration or like proudness or acceptance of where we're at, it's really important to feel your feelings, guys. I wish I would have learned this in the beginning of my journey as well, because you just shoving down the guilt and the shame that you're feeling for not accomplishing or not hitting your expectations is only creating more guilt and shame in your life. Just like we're saying with the opposite with celebration. When you call in more celebration, you're going to get more celebratory things in your life. If you keep focusing on the guilt and the shame that keeps arising in you, you're going to keep finding more things to guilt and shame yourself about. So it's important to tap into your body. And you know what? This wasn't planned. None of this is planned. This is all free speaking. We always do this. We're like freestyling. But I'm going to do this right now for you guys. Danielle, you can follow along. I want you to, I invite you to close your eyes. I'm going to take you through an embodiment practice. It won't take very long. I invite you to close your eyes. You can place one hand over your heart and one over your womb space or your stomach, whatever you want to call it. And I want you to just focus on the rise and the fall of your chest and the expanding and contracting of your belly. Becoming aware of your breath, not changing it, just noticing. Really tapping you into your body and into this present moment. Now I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. You're going to do this 2 more times. So in through your nose and out through your mouth. 1 more time. And this time you're going to hold at the top. So in through your nose. Hold. And out through your mouth. Now I want you to think about a time where you were celebrating yourself. This could be a birthday. It could be a new job opportunity that you got. It could be graduating with your degree. It could be getting accepted into a new college. It could be anything. Whatever truly brings you into celebration, I want you to take yourself there. What are you hearing around you? Is your baby laughing? Are people clapping for you? Are they singing happy birthday? Who's around you right now? Friends, family, or are you alone? What can you feel right now? Where in your body are you feeling this sensation of celebration? Are you feeling butterflies in your stomach? Your heart beating fast? A smile on your face? I want you to just really tap into the sensations that you're feeling and tap into your body, bringing you back to that environment, bringing you back into that moment. I want you to let the celebration get bigger, the feeling that you're feeling inside. So the sensation, allow it to get bigger and bigger and bigger, absorbing your whole body from your head down to your feet. I want you to start moving your body any way that feels most comfortable to you. It could be rolling your shoulders. It could be shaking out your hands. It could be dancing if you feel like playing a song right now. It could be wiggling your torso in circles, rolling your head, whatever you feel like doing right now. Maybe you're hearing music. Really allowing yourself to feel the sensation of celebration and to express it. You can even tune into what the sensation wants to tell you, if it's any messages it has for you, any wisdom it wants to tell you in this moment. And then you can start to wiggle your hands and your feet and open your eyes whenever you're ready. Hopefully you weren't doing that while driving. I should have said that.
Thought about it like halfway through, unless you're driving. I think they know,
but you can
though,
simply
not
do
to close their eyes.
Yeah, right. And you can do a simple embodiment practice like that. Like bring up the emotion, take yourself back to a time where you were feeling a lot of gratitude for yourself, a lot of proudness, a lot of appreciation for what you were experiencing in your life at that time, and hone in on that feeling of celebration. The more you start to understand the feeling and see where it's at in your body and start to notice it and become aware of it, the more you will bring that in. And the more you start to understand yourself and the more you hold space for yourself, you start to love yourself. Again, it all bleeds and leads into one another. And so the more understanding and knowledge you can get around your own emotions and where you feel them and what it feels like for you and what it tells you and things like that, it's easier to call it in or it's easier to release it. So again, you can do this with any emotion that you experience, the shame and the guilt. You can take yourself there too. Or you can do things like celebration and joy. If you feel like maybe you don't experience that a lot in your life right now, maybe tap into the good for a while so that you can start bringing that up more for you. How was that for you, Dee?
That was beautiful. Thank you. But it also made me really
You're
want to be
welcome.
in a room surrounded by all my friends. I'm ready to go out with all my friends now.
I know.
Like,
if this was like an actual
calm down.
If this was actually like an actual workshop, I would definitely be like, play some music and start to dance now. But I wasn't going to do all that, obviously. But yeah, you can do that. Use the expression portion to play some music for yourself and start to dance through it. If you're like us, like, you know, a lot of my celebration did come from raves and it came from moments of like that, you know, or being with your friends and family. And what do you do with them? You dance, you have fun, you party, you know. Partying doesn't have to include any alcohol, but yeah.
Yeah, no, you can totally bring yourself into that mood of celebration. If you're someone who likes to celebrate things by going out and going to raves and festivals, do that. Create that space. Something I've learned for myself in motherhood and not being able to do those things as often is that I can create those things for myself. I went to the beach the other day and had a silent disco by myself, watching the sunrise on the beach, dancing like I was at an actual silent disco. Now, was it an actual silent disco? To me, but it brought me just as much joy. I had just as much fun.
Yeah.
And it was a way for me to tap into something I love and celebrate something I love doing without having to go and do it. And we can find these small, like, you don't have to take a whole day to celebrate yourself for all these little minor things, but throw a little small dance party. Do it something that makes you feel like you're in that, like, celebratory mood, and just like an embodiment practice with Dakota. That was a fun little sneak peek. And you find ways to really tap into these frequencies of joy and happiness and celebration. And it's just makes life feel good. And when we feel good, everything else seems to just kind of feel as good, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And with our kids too, if you're a parent, celebrate your kids for their little stuff. Build that confidence now. And the more you do it with yourself, the more you will do it with your kids. And our kids deserve to be celebrated for all their small little steps and all the little things they do, so that they grow up instilled with that confidence and the ability to celebrate themselves, because they will need to celebrate themselves too. And I think it's important to remember, as parents, and as heavy as the responsibility is, our habits now become their habits later. They are
Mm.
watching us. They watch us do everything. Matter of fact, a little too hard. Oliver started
Yeah.
locking me out. He's been shutting the door and locking the door behind him because I locked the doors to keep him in. Now he realizes he can lock the doors to keep me out. They watch you a little too hard. I know,
I'm
it
not
freaked you
there yet, thankfully,
out.
but yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm in
but
for it. I know for sure. Also,
but
to kind of go
yeah.
back what you were just saying though, yeah, like a lot of what we get from our parents is, we see by doing. And so you could, even if you want to get deep here, go back to your childhood. Where do you notice that? Or maybe it's now that you still notice your parents doing it. Where do you notice that instead of them receiving the compliments that you give them, they shy away and like say a compliment towards you, or they don't say anything at all because they feel uncomfortable? It's like, do you feel uncomfortable whenever you receive compliments, and how can you start receiving them more? And I'm thinking about compliments because I feel like that's also celebratory, right? But also,
Mm-hmm.
like, I personally, it's hard for me to receive compliments. It really is, because I feel like, oh girl, yeah, but you too. It's like, why don't we just take it in instead? Why don't we just like, you look great today, thank you so much, instead of like having to feel like I need to tell her, well, this is from Shein, you could find it there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, no, I know exactly
like
what
I
you mean,
always feel
because
like I have to be like, and you girl. Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's important too with celebration. If you struggle celebrating yourself, looking back on your childhood and saying, did your parents not celebrate you? Were you never celebrated for the accomplishments? Are there things your inner child feels uncomfortable with now in adulthood because you never received that celebration back then? And do the inner child work with that. Start celebrating your inner child for all of her accomplishments, all the things she made it through, all, or he, whoever. Start there and give that little girl, little boy some love, and then really get down to the root of why maybe you feel uncomfortable celebrating yourself for even the big stuff, especially the big stuff. If you're not celebrating the big stuff and you're really jumping to what's next when you get your big goals, you really need to tap into why. Why do you feel so uncomfortable celebrating yourself? Why do you feel unworthy of celebration, even when you hit your big milestones? And really get comfortable with just, yeah, I'll let that sit for a second. But yeah, really get comfortable with
No, literally.
get comfortable with
I'm like,
celebrating
damn, that's
yourself.
a good one.
Get comfortable with celebrating yourself because you do deserve it, the big and little, but especially the little, because you do something. I promise you, you do something every day that deserves to be rewarded in some way or form. I'm a big fan of treat yourself, so don't mind me.
That's a
But
reward.
that's a reward. Make yourself a little cute cup of coffee. Do whatever makes you feel good to, like, buy yourself that little bracelet. Do something to treat yourself for no reason, because you made it through the day, because you did that, because you did. And moms, again, I'm going to talk to you and say, there's a million one things I know you did today, and it's not even 6 o'clock at night yet, that deserve to be celebrated. Probably by 9 a.m., you probably have a good 40 things you should celebrate yourself for, especially if you've got toddlers.
Literally.
Because now that I have like a full-blown toddler, I have, man, respect. This is humbling, okay? But I'm celebrating myself
No,
for it because
literally.
despite everything, I'm still here. I'm still doing all this, and I'm very proud of myself, because there were moments where I was like, how do people do this? Truly. And once I kind of tapped into like, okay, well, let's slow down. Let's just be proud of ourselves for making it through a day with a tiny toddler in an RV. And the more I highlight that, the easier every day gets, because I do find so much joy in the little stuff. And that all starts with self-compassion, feeling your feelings, and definitely celebrating every step of the way. And when you are healing and you do embodiment work and stuff like that, celebrate that. Definitely celebrate that. And don't wait till you feel healed to celebrate all the inner work you're doing, because you're never going to celebrate yourself if that's what you're waiting for. You just aren't. And I'd also like to tap into the women. If you have never done a rage ritual, I need y'all to go do that today. If not today, tomorrow, but really, really soon, tap into a rage ritual. Even if you're like, I don't feel angry right now. Maybe not, but that rage ritual is going to bring it out in you. And that one I feel has been so powerful for me to really like step into more joy. If that might sound like kind of contradictive, but releasing some like anger that's been held on has really opened me up to just feeling more joy in a way that's like deeper than it was before. Did I cut out?
A little bit, but no, I heard you. No, I agree with that. I mean, that's literally the basis of my teaching. Like, the reason why you want to move through your emotions is because you'll feel the other side of the emotion so much deeper, so much more, like joy and excitement and gratitude and happiness and love and peace and all of those. Once you move the stagnant ones stuck in your body out of the way. And so, yeah, you do a rage ritual, do the celebration ritual, do move through your emotions, please. That's the basis of everything. But yeah, I'm really, I'm the basis. I'm really proud of y'all for even listening to this podcast. So please go celebrate yourself just for listening to this today, because this is your daily dose of personal development, of spirituality, of healing, of you listening to this. You are healing yourself. Maybe you don't feel like it because you're not journaling, visualizing, meditate. Well, if you did this embodiment work practice with me, you're doing a great job. Working. And also just listening, you're rewiring your thoughts, rewiring your brain. And so, yeah, be proud of yourself, please. Please be proud of yourself.
Yep. And if no one else has told you.
Can you hear me, T?
Yeah. And if no one else has told you, I'm proud of you. We are proud of you. And we know you deserve that celebration. So celebrate and know that no matter what, you are a badass. And if you're a mom, you're double that badass. You're a superhuman. Okay? Especially those of you with more than one. More power to y'all. That's a lot.
Literally. Couldn't be me. No,
no, but all jokes aside, we love you guys so much, and we are so incredibly proud of y'all for showing up for yourself. If you've been around from detox, thank you. We love you. And if you're a new listener, thank you. We love you.
Yeah.
And I think, though, that is kind of what we have for today. Dakota, do you want to add anything else?
I know we kind of stopped doing affirmations. Did you happen to have one, D?
I could think of one. Just something simple.
I celebrate my life and all that I've did today, something like that.
I deserve to be celebrated. I am proud of me.
I love that. Literally.
It can be that simple.
Simple and effective. I love it.
I deserve to be celebrated.
Literally.
Yeah, so put that on a sticky note.
I love
Put it on your
perfect.
Yeah. All right, we're going to end this. We're going all over the place, but we love y'all. Thanks again. And if you like this episode, please leave us a little review, share, send it to someone who needs to celebrate themselves. Send it to your friends and let us know your feedback. We really appreciate that. And also any comment, anything time you share it, do anything, it really helps us grow our community. And we love the more people in here, the merrier. So thanks again. And we will catch y'all on the next episode of Mystic Mamas. Bye.
Love you. Bye.